Imagine for a moment your pits smelling like nothing. You don't stink after you work out. Your teenager's foot odor doesn't exist. How is this possible? It's Lumi. Challenge Lumi to keep you funk-free for 72 hours. Go to uglytruth.com/Lumi. You can pick your favorite smell, the favorite type of applicator or stick or tube or wipe, and you will be amazed by your non-smelly body. uglytruth.com/Lumi. Welcome to The Ugly Truth. This is episode 535. Wait, do it again. Okay. Oh, that's a nice little do-over. Welcome. All right, so let's just get into it because people don't like long intros. So
Really? Says who?
I don't know. The world.
Okay.
The world.
Well, I don't like long intros either. So.
Nice bruise, by the way.
I know. Jeff has a matching one. I have no idea what we did.
What'd you guys do? Fist bump and miss?
No, I know I ran into something. I don't know what he did, and he's also got one here and here because...
That's from his Oculus, right?
No, he had a blanket draped around him that was long, and he was running down the hall, and Kevin went chasing after him at 100 miles an hour, jumped on the back of the blanket.
And he went
down. It tripped him, and he fell on our hardwood floors.
Awesome.
And he's so funny because he's like, it didn't hurt, I'm fine. I'm like, my God, son, are you okay? And I'm like,
he's got this red face.
He was red. It had a little bump and everything. And then the next day I was like, oh my God, your little face is bruised.
You know what I hate is that people will see that and go,
You.
No, not me.
I don't always assume that. I am so clumsy. I
know.
Variety of bruises and things on me.
I didn't mean me, I meant others.
Yeah, I don't know. I just...
If people judge what boys' injuries look like, there would be no boys in homes.
It's true.
I mean, we had neighbors where their son was probably just a smidge younger than your son. And this was, he's like in his 20s now, so this was forever ago. He was like 7. And they had an old aquarium that they were getting rid of. And it was in the backyard. And it was like just sitting somewhere safely. And the boy jumped in it or jumped on it. And somehow it broke the glass and it completely shredded his stomach. It was serious.
God.
He had like 30 stitches in his belly. It was like major, severe. But that same year, he leapt off of a fence and broke his arm. And so his mom, she's like, I swear to God, I mean, the ER is just like, what are you doing to this child? Yeah.
But if you've raised boys, you know.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
It's true. Girls are dumb too. Girls do stupid shit too, but not like boys.
As a matter of fact, Lauren is hurt herself far worse than Jeff has. Knock on something so far.
Yeah.
She's the one that was standing on the edge of a porcelain bathtub when she was like 4 and jumping into the water.
Oh my God.
And split her chin open.
I remember that.
Yeah. That was my bad because I walked out of the room for like a minute.
How dare you? How dare you?
I mean, I thought...
How dare you get a towel?
I'm still thinking about it, obviously, 23 years later.
Oh, you want to talk about bad parenting? Tyler was probably 2.5 years old. I was living in that cute little apartment complex. It's gated and everything. And I was in the bathroom cleaning the tub so that he could take a bath. It was like Saturday morning at like 8 a.m. because back then I was a single parent. And kids don't get that it's a weekend and that we don't have to do anything. They're just like, hey, it's time to do stuff, right? Because we've been up at every day since. So I'm like, hold on. So I'm cleaning out the tub. It's like a pretty summer morning. And my son broke out of the apartment through the window. Oh my God. He pushed the screen out.
How old was he?
He was about 2.5. Climbed out and started wandering around the complex in just a diaper. And
my God.
15 minutes later, someone I get a knock on the door, and it's a kid probably in his early 20s, and he's holding him. And I go, oh my God, what's going on? He goes, well, we saw him wandering around the complex, and my mom knows who you are and recognized the baby and told me to retrieve him and send him to you. And I'm like...
I know it's not funny, but I was like, oh my God.
The idea of
I would die.
I didn't even know how to respond.
I mean, yeah, because
I was in shock.
What if it was a child molester?
Stephanie, someone could have stolen him.
Absolutely, and you never would have even known.
Someone could have called the police and reported me as a negligent parent. I mean, the amount of things that could have gone wrong that day. He could have fallen in the pool. I mean, my God. So I was just like, thank you. So I literally, to that day, I never opened the windows again. I had child locks on everything.
I just can't believe he did that, little shithead.
I was like, what are you doing? You know, but then again, he didn't know.
He's a baby, but still.
I couldn't believe it. I said, well, I guess you're going to have to help me with everything now. You're never going to be unsupervised
Now you know why
again.
they have those little baby leashes and they put them on kids.
Yeah.
And I used to always be like, that is so rude. Like,
It isn't.
No, and now I'm like, no, you know what? Some kids need leashes. They do.
They do. They really do. And Tyler was not a rascal per se.
No, he really wasn't.
But some wild hair crawled up his ass, and he
That's why I'm so
do
surprised he did it, because he was such a great baby.
He's a
and
good baby.
child.
He was such a good baby. The best baby, actually.
Of all the babies.
Yeah, if I had to be honest. I mean,
if I'm being honest too, Lauren was the best baby.
Yeah, they were both
so
you know
easy.
what? Both of them, because they're only a few months apart.
Yeah,
Our
they're 5
two
months and 1
oldest
day.
children, and they are like, they were BFFs when they grew up. They were so peaceful when they played. They were like
Lauren didn't have colic. I know Tyler did a little bit, but
not as bad. I mean, he went through a phase, but he also has always had a weird stomach.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah,
but
like Jeff, my son. Oh my God, to this day that child has stomach issues.
But they were the two best friends that anyone could have. Like forever they were. It was so cute. We even got their pictures taken together.
They were like
Remember
brother and
that?
sister.
Oh
yes,
my God.
They were so
so
cute.
cute.
Those
Anyway,
were the glory days.
yeah, no one cares about that anymore, I guess. But anyway, I care.
I do too.
And speaking of, Tyler called me the other day. Now, he's almost 30.
I know.
Okay. Which I don't even like to say, because I just tell everybody I was so young when I had him, you have no idea. And I really was. I was.
Were.
But he called me the other night at like 9 o'clock. And whenever my son calls me after 9, something not right.
You're like, what?
And I get worried, because I'm like, what the fuck? So I just saw him on Sunday. And I had forgotten that he told me he was going to the beach that day. He's like, yeah, we're going to go to the beach, hang out. We haven't been, get away from the heat. And so he calls me and he goes, hey, Mom. And I go, hey, what's wrong? What's going on? Immediately, I know.
Yeah.
And he's like, no. He goes, we went to the beach today. I'm like, yeah. And I thought he was going to say something like, we're getting married or something. I didn't know.
I got stung by a jellyfish.
Right? As if he goes in the water. And so...
Well, sometimes they're on the beach. You have to watch for them.
That's true. So anyway, he goes, yeah, everything was fun and games. I'm like, Intel? Shark? What? I don't know. And he goes, I got sunburned. I'm like,
oh.
all right. He goes, but I mean, I'm getting blisters on my feet, Mom. And I'm like, okay. He goes, do I have to go to the emergency room? And I'm like, no, hold on. So I gave him what to do.
But it's painful.
It's so painful. And I said, the biggest challenge you're going to have is going to work tomorrow.
Oh my God.
Because you got to put shoes on. And so I said, if I were you, and I told him all the things. I said, one time I had a sunburn so bad, and I was probably in 7th or 8th grade. I got a sunburn so bad that I actually had blisters on my back.
Ugh.
And I had put a whole wet beach towel, a cold wet beach towel on my back, and I slept on it all night like that.
Yeah.
To pull the heat out. Mom put like apple cider vinegar.
Yeah. I think that supposedly helps.
I don't know.
Aloe vera is really the best thing.
Yeah, and aloe, of course.
Yeah.
So he goes, so in the back, I hear Spree going, look, you have Lanacane, you have Advil, where I'm taking care of everything because, the last thing any woman wants is the mother going, why isn't she taking care of you, son?
Oh, geez.
No one wants that.
Yeah.
Although I would never say that.
No, I know. I'm like, you wouldn't say that.
No. Plus, Tyler's capable. He can take care of
He's capable.
himself.
There's absolutely nothing wrong with calling your mother when something is occurring to you that's
He's
not happened before.
He was panicking. And so I said,
Right.
I go, well, like, are your he goes, it's my shins and my feet. And I'm like, okay. And so
what was he did he fall asleep or something?
I go, didn't you wear sunscreen? Now, not that it matters, but didn't you put on sunscreen? And he's like, well, everywhere but there. And I said, okay. I said, well,
And we're so fair.
lessons learned, and he gets pretty brown, like really brown.
Yeah.
But I mean, we live in a new world. You can't not be sunscreened at the beach.
Yeah.
And so I said, all right. I said, well,
Ouch.
best of luck to you. And no, you don't need the ER. And so he's like, all right, thanks, Mom. So the next day, I said, I'll check on you tomorrow. So the next day, like around 5 o'clock, I said, hey, how are your leg hands? And he sent me a photo. And I'm like,
Tyler's feet are probably the only ones I could probably tolerate.
and they look fine, by the
Everybody
way.
else is disgusting to me except for my children or your children.
It's true.
Or Paula's children.
I will say
our
I
kids.
will at least gander if I have to.
Yeah.
And so I looked. I'm like, oh, why are you?
In the interest of
I mean,
medical.
they're still man feet. And I'm like, in my brain, I said, you know what? The only reason that I'm looking at this is because I made them, and I'm like, I have a responsibility to check on my creation.
I love my little son's feet.
So
They're
yeah.
cute.
Okay, get back to me in 20 years. And
I
tell me how you feel.
know. He's only 9.
So I looked
They're
at
still
them, and I'm like, okay, well, you're basically brown now. Like, you're not even sunburned
That's
anymore.
the thing about burns is they don't, the first day is usually the
brutal.
worst, but they do go away pretty quickly.
And he's healthy as hell, so he healed quickly. So anyway,
when we went to Hawaii when we were kids, remember we were like lobsters.
Oh my God, we got
because we didn't know.
burned.
Mom didn't know.
She had that weird frog. It was like a liquid SPF.
Yeah.
It was like literally like water, and you put it on and you splash it on, and it really worked.
It does work. Yeah, it's called frog.
Is it still called
I
frog
think
water?
So. An amphibious something.
It works.
Bullfrog. That's what it was called.
And then she would I remember specifically our mom splashed her back, and she obviously did not do a very good job because you could literally see the marks where where it hit her and where she didn't get it at all, and it looked really odd. But
we didn't know that tropical
very different
is very different than California.
It's
even
very different. And back then,
it's like the sun is like 10 feet away.
It's so, and all the water reflection.
Right. Yeah.
Anyway, so speaking of doing things to ourselves,
okay,
this is so dumb because I know people who are super into makeup and all that stuff. They're like, "What are you talking about? This is so common."
Oh,
and I even talked to my girls about it because I was really struggling with the feeling of it. So apparently, if you're really into makeup for like a night out or, God forbid, red carpet or a photo shoot.
Or a wedding or something.
Or a wedding, you shave the hair on your face.
I've done that.
Okay, the peach fuzz.
Yeah.
So I said, I've got peach fuzz. I've never shaved my face before, ever. So I ordered.
Why the hell did you suddenly think this was necessary? Okay.
Because I have a magnifying mirror and I can see it. And I'm like, I have a beard.
It's not new.
I know, but I just noticed, I'm like, I feel like I have a beard. So I'm like, okay. I think I'm getting a little OCD about getting older. Everything feels extreme. So I ordered a face shaver. I ordered a women's face shaver from Sephora.
This from the girl who said last week, I'm not into gadgets. Now suddenly, like, everything's a gadget.
I know.
She's got a jade roller. She's got a face shaver.
I know. And so
she's going to get facials and Botox.
I know. It's insane. So
what the hell?
This is my midlife crisis. I told you.
Her hair is really, really blonde now.
At least I didn't get a lover. At least I'm just doing myself. I'm not going out there going, hey, ladies, here's my tramp stamp. No, none of that shit.
Never.
Anyway. Oh, God. Do you have a tramp stamp?
Fuck no.
I didn't think you did. I was just making sure.
But I'm the type, right? I am. Yes, I am. I am totally the type.
Okay, you were once.
I probably thought about it very seriously in the past. Now I'm just like, God, that would be gross. Who would want to see that?
Now you got to walk around with it going, yeah, well, I lived through the early 2000s too.
Well, who would want to see it now?
No one.
I'm never wearing a shirt that's going to show my back ever.
So now I just don't know if I have to keep shaving my face or do I just do it whenever?
I've done it. I did it for the same reason, but it was a long time ago.
According to Malia, you really only need to do it for like special occasions. You don't have to keep it up. So now I've got goddamn stubble that no one can see.
Yeah, you can't see it.
And now I feel like I have peach.
But I mean the same thing that you can't see now with it growing back, you couldn't see it before when it was there.
Although I will say this, when I was doing my I was doing like all the areas they tell you to do, and I did have a dark hair over my lip, and I'm like, I've never seen that before.
Maybe you weren't looking for it.
And I'm like, fuck, how long has that been there? Has Daryl always noticed?
Now you have to always.
Guys don't notice anything.
No,
they don't notice anything unless you. I think.
Well,
in all honesty, I think one time, I for some reason did not see that every woman has a chin hair. Every woman has a chin hair.
Do?
Yes. And it got dark and long, and it started to curl. And I looked in the mirror. I was like, how long has that been there?
Oh, my God.
And so I immediately pulled it, of course. And I said, have you noticed? I asked Daryl, this was years ago. I'm like, did you notice that chin hair? And he's like, well, I did, but I figured, you'd get it eventually. I'm like, you saw it? I didn't say anything?
Oh, my God.
You kissed me? Ew!
Jerry told me once that I thought, you think they don't notice?
They notice.
But I think they're just smart enough not to say. It's a battle not worth fighting.
They just don't care to get into it.
It's just like, why would I ever say
there
something?
There are other things.
Yeah, and so...
Plus, they know how many flaws that can be pointed out immediately upon criticism.
Very true. But I just think it's a battle that's not worth fighting, And so... I can't remember. It was so long ago, but I can remember it like it happened yesterday.
Of course, that's how we keep track.
I forgot what he said. I cannot recall how we stumbled across the topic.
Oh, okay.
We weren't fighting. It was a very, but I don't remember why this came up. But he said I had 5 o'clock shadow.
What?
On my armpits. And I do it every day. I shave basically every day.
I shave daily, yes.
So maybe it was the end of the day. I don't know. I mean, maybe I was PMSing and I was like growing hair longer that day.
You're like, I don't care.
I was like, I mean, I was so shocked.
I would have been offended.
I was offended, but I was just so surprised. I'm like, how did you notice that? Like,
do you walk around with your hands over your head all the time
no,
dancing? Like,
I don't know what that's what I'm saying. It was literally like probably 15 years ago.
like the I Dream of Jeannie dance? Dun, dun,
I don't
dun, dun.
remember. It could have been like I was asleep in bed and had my arm and my head above my head. You know what I mean? Like on the pillow or whatever.
You know what?
I don't know.
I'm not driven to violence often, but those are the kinds of things that would make me want to hit somebody really hard.
He's lucky it was like early in the morning or something and I wasn't prepared to like get vicious yet, but I have never forgotten that.
No, and you never will.
Yeah.
And you never, in fact,
and he wasn't even saying it to be mean. He was
every
just
time
like,
you
well,
shave,
you know.
Yeah, maybe he was just like Jeff being observational.
I probably said something to him, like, God, are you planning on shaving today? You know, like, because I can say whatever I want. Anytime I want, no matter what.
Yeah. That's pretty fair.
Yeah. I let him not shave when we go on vacation. I don't care.
I do. Daryl definitely has a vacation beard, and
It's kind of cute, yeah.
And I also do not comment on his body at all. If he puts on weight, unless it's like, if I were to ever be incredibly concerned, I would say something. And I told him the same thing. I go, you can't let things go to a point where you go, hey, maybe we should join a gym together. Like, I never want that level to occur. I said, I will say, I've dated guys who were obese. Yeah. And because they had a wonderful personality, which they ultimately didn't. But I mean, at the time. So I'm not judgy about that.
Right,
I said, but, this great thing we've got going on could cease to the level that it's at should we allow this belly to continue. Yeah. But it's never gotten to that point. He always notices it before me.
Well, I had a doctor say something to it was so funny. He was having a follow-up from a surgery, and the surgeon was hot.
Of course.
And I hate it.
Surgeons and anesthesiologists, always.
God, I'm so annoyed. So, always. And he's like a marathon runner, so he's perfectly thin and very well, in shape and all of that. And I cannot recall what the circumstances were, but we were in his office, and he said something like, I don't know. Jerry said something like, well, I've never really had a problem with because Jerry's thin,
Yeah, he's very lean.
Because he's tall. He's like 6'2". And the doctor's like, he patted him on the belly. He goes, well, it looks like you could lose a little hair and everything. And I was like, I did that. And then I started laughing. I was like, because no one's ever told Jerry that he needed to lose weight ever in his history of his life.
He's like, what? Yeah. This is new feeling. What is this feeling? I'm feeling shame. What is this?
He was quiet. Like, we were walking up to the car. He was like thinking about it. And I'm like, I didn't even have to say anything.
That is hilarious.
But you do look like you're about 6 months pregnant, so whatever.
Oh, no. But
that sucks for guys because a lot of guys only gain weight in like one area. And like the rest, like his legs are like toothpicks.
Yeah.
But he's got a bloated belly.
Well, a lot of guys get that.
And he doesn't even drink beer. Like they say it's a beer belly, but he doesn't drink.
He doesn't drink. Well, it's just a lot of red meat, maybe. I don't know. Okay, so
that was interesting.
We're not running out of time, but I want to make sure we get through everything we want to talk about today.
Yeah, for sure.
So quickly, are you watching the Olympics?
Absolutely.
Okay, so
enjoying them very much.
So Daryl went on a fishing trip with his brother, and he left at like 4:00 in the morning. It was really, really early, like a couple weeks ago.
Pre-Olympics?
No, post-Olympics. It was actually...
They just started this week, so...
No, it's been almost 2 weeks because this was last Saturday. We're recording this, so it was a week ago.
It's been a week, yeah.
Yeah, so last Saturday he left, and he's kissed me goodbye out of a deep sleep. And I was wide awake. And it was like 4:15 in the morning, and I couldn't sleep. And I'm like, oh, the Olympics. And because of the time change. So I turned it on, and I started watching swimming, which is my very favorite Olympic event. So anything aquatic. And so I'm watching this swim. I'm like, this is really cool. I'm watching this live.
It's so great.
Normally I have to wait until
watch it
prime
at
time.
night,
and I fucking hate that. And so then I started watching the swims, and I'm like, oh, this is so great. And I was watching some little girl kill it for the American team.
Was it a little 17-year-old?
No, it wasn't that. It was some other thing. And I don't think she won a medal. But I mean, it was just cool to watch it. And so then I was obsessed after that. And then every day I'm like, and I started recording it at 3:30 in the morning so I could watch it, right?
Yeah.
I have not seen one gymnastics event.
Oh, I have seen them all.
Not one. I keep missing them because I'm living life and it's just busy.
Yeah.
And so
we're doing well, even though Simone's out. We're still doing well.
We did. And, I started doing some more reading on Simone Biles pulling out. And everybody's like, oh, mental health. And I'm like, no, it's true. It's mental health.
Yeah.
But there were a couple of other things that were kind of interesting. One is she's got ADHD. and she takes Ritalin. And there's a potential rumor that she had to stop taking it because of the laws in Japan, because Japan's really strict about amphetamines, and Ritalin is considered an amphetamine.
Yeah.
So she apparently has what's called the twisties, and that's in gymnastics terms, and all gymnasts know what that means. And essentially what it is because you rely on muscle memory to do this incredible feats of twisting in the air and flips and all that stuff. You rely on muscle memory, and you're not even in your head. You're just doing it.
Yeah, it's like a robot.
The twisties are when you're in your head.
Yeah, like you're thinking about the next move.
And it's very dangerous.
Yeah. And I read all about that.
Yeah. So you know. And so it's like, I'm not saying it's not mental health.
It's real. It is real. She was definitely afraid to hurt herself.
And I think that, well, I think she's done. I don't think she's going to compete next week. I think there's some more events.
No, she's completely out.
She's completely withdrawn.
She's out, yeah. She pulled out of the team first, and then she pulled out of the individuals.
The individuals, yeah. And I'm cool with that, by the way.
Yeah.
What's hard is when you have media and just everything with social media and everything making her like the next Michael Phelps and, the next...
It's a lot of pressure.
Whatever. Yeah. It's like a lot. And, and I have not seen people giving her shit about it, but apparently there are.
Apparently there are. I haven't seen it either.
I haven't seen anything.
I mean, I just think... It's kind of like, for me, it's kind of like the people who supported Trump, but they never told anyone. I think there's people who it's safe to talk about how you feel if it's negative around certain people, but for the most part, how dare you come out and say it out loud? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think initially I was a little conflicted about it.
Well, I was
because I didn't necessarily understand.
Well, we didn't know anything. She was just like pulled out, like it looked like she had a bad vault and said, "Nope, I'm out." And it's like, oh, is she pouting because she didn't do well? But no,
but she hadn't been doing well.
And you know what?
Yeah.
Did you see her when she was competing for the Olympic team to get on the Olympic team?
The trials.
She had 2 or 3 things, and I told Daryl, I said, "Is she injured? Like, what is up with her?"
I think it was all mental.
She was having the twisties then, and just somehow got through it. And I'm like, you know what? We were talking about it yesterday, me and my daughter, and she's like, yeah, well, you've seen that thing where they're like, have them compete and then have a normal person try it and see, so you can see.
Well, and that was my thing. I'm like, here's the thing. She's like, everybody's talking about she's not superhuman. We're expecting too much from her. It's too much pressure. She doesn't have to be perfect, this thing that we all want her to be. I'm like, I agree 100%. But if I'm her and I'm as talented as she is, maybe I'm just going to take it down like 2 notches and be like, I don't need to do all this extra shit that no one's ever done before.
Yeah.
I don't need to prove that. Like, let me just do the routines that everybody else is doing and just be the best at it.
Yeah.
Or not,
Or not.
Or if you fuck up, you fuck up. I mean, it's like, I could have accepted her being not that great this Olympics and not medaling like we all expected her to, and it would have been fine.
I think she did her team a favor, to be honest with you.
I do too. I mean, I'm glad that I feel like they gained confidence.
They did.
Because they're like, now we're not stressed. I mean, I think they all knew, like, okay, as long as she's competing, I'm never going to get a gold. Like, it's not going to happen for me. Yeah. I'll be lucky if I can get a silver or a bronze.
Yes.
And that's the best I can expect or hope for.
Yeah.
So now that she's out of it, it's like, I might be able to get a gold. And they did. A couple of them have gotten gold. So I'm like,
oh,
I'm
God,
good for them.
That Suni girl.
She's great.
God, I loved her. I loved her before. I thought she was amazing.
Too.
I loved her.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yes, I'm bummed that I've missed some of the all of the gymnastics.
Yeah, well, you can always watch it. I'm sure it's on.
Yeah, it's on. However, I've seen almost all the aquatic stuff. The
I have
polo.
too.
I even watched the diving, which I fucking love the dives.
I was watching the synchronized diving.
I loved it.
Like, oh, these are cute. And how have the Speedos gotten? They are so small.
I know,
there's like nothing left. They're practically naked.
I'm like, you're like, okay, you want to be on the dive team? Here's your strip. Put it on.
Next year it's gonna be pasties. I was like, good Lord, they are tiny.
But the reason that I brought up,
of course, their bodies are perfect though.
Oh God, they're amazing. They're
all gay. The guys are, but
they're still gorgeous.
They're still fun to look at.
No, but what made me bring it up is that I haven't watched it yet. I'm going to find it though because the artistic swimming is coming.
Is that like the synchronized
swimming?
So funny.
Okay, first of all, I just want you to know that I firmly believed for years that we could have been in.
Oh, we used to do it.
You and me, we could have literally been a championship duo in synchro swimming. There's no doubt in my mind. No doubt.
We're not 85 pounds, though. I mean,
well, we were when we were doing it.
That's true.
We could have totally done it.
That's true.
I don't care what anybody says. We could have done it. We did that shit all the time, and I do believe we were influenced. by whatever year that was. We were in
saw
France
it
and did it, and we're like, we could totally do this, Stephanie.
We're like,
I believe it. We would go upside down with our legs in the air and do spins.
Yes, we did.
We did all the things.
We did. It was fun.
Now I want to watch it and go.
Mom and Dad giving us a pool was probably the best thing they ever did.
Oh my God, it was
us.
so amazing.
Yeah,
it was so amazing.
We
and
loved
so
it.
I just.
When you have that many children.
It's like, go outside, don't drown.
Yeah. No, Mom was smart. She got us all swim lessons. She had the
did.
lady come to us. She came to our house and taught us all how to swim.
When I had to learn how to dive, it was the most terrifying thing of my life.
Yeah, it was.
I hated it.
I was scared too.
I hated it. And then we always pretended there was a shark at the deep end.
You did.
Oh yeah, okay, I did.
Because you like to terrify us.
Well, unfortunately,
we believed still. We were like, is there really a shark?
and then I would pretend I was getting pulled.
Because you looked so real. And
I would get pulled
Mom
under.
would be like, stop it!
She did.
Because we were all crying.
She's like, Jamie Lynn, stop acting like there's a shark at the... I can't even believe it! Where are these words coming out of my mouth right now? Stop with the shark! But I was dumb enough to sneak downstairs and watch Jaws when my parents were watching it.
Dad let you do so much shit. He let you get away with murder with
It's true.
certain things.
He didn't care. He was a psychopath. He didn't
Yeah,
care.
he was. Well, I remember the first scary movie I ever saw. You were having friends over.
What was it?
The Nightmare Before Elm Street.
Oh, Nightmare on Elm Street?
Yeah.
The Nightmare Before Elm Street.
I was thinking that's a combination of a Disney flick
It
and...
is.
Okay. You knew what I meant.
This is Halloween. Yeah, that's that movie. Yeah,
So, and that movie was literally like the most terrifying movie ever.
It was so scary.
I was absolutely petrified.
It still scares me when I watch it.
Yes, everything about it. I mean,
I love
it was scary.
I love slasher films, though. I still do to this day.
As a matter of fact, I was going to
it.
see if you wanted to go to the movies. Oh, maybe Tyler will go too and
What?
see Old. Have you?
Oh, with M. Night Shyamalan?
I don't know who's in it. I've just heard that the reviews. It's just like crushing it at the movie
Okay,
theater.
so M. Night Shyamalan is the guy that did The Sixth Sense. You
Okay,
know,
yeah,
with
that was
Bruce
scary.
Willis. You know, he's like, he's dead.
That
you know,
movie scared
one.
me.
Okay, yeah, it is scary. So he has had flop after flop.
Oh,
Apparently, I mean, I've seen a couple of his movies.
Is he an actor or the director?
He's the director.
Okay.
And so now he's taken this short story and turned it into a movie that this beach ages, the time on the beach is different than in reality.
Okay.
But yet they can't leave the island. And so little kids...
It looks scary.
Little kids turn into 20-year-olds. And there's a scene, Stephanie, there's a scene where the mom, she's like, please let me look at you before you change. And I'm like, I can't do this. I can't do this. Because, I mean...
It's not real.
No, I know, but I have an imagination.
I know you do.
And I'm just like, I can't think of my
Jerry
child.
does this too. He's like, why is this? I'm like, Jerry, it's a movie. He's like, oh yeah, that's right. I'm like, it's not real.
Phew,
Like, why are they doing that?
I would watch that movie and go home and watch Muppet Babies or something.
So, yeah.
Because I can't.
There's another scary one too that's coming out. It's the one that has what's the girl's name that was in Devil Wears Prada? She was the mean.
Oh, Emily
assistant.
Blunt?
Yes, Emily Blunt's
Love her. I don't know. What is she in?
It's brand new. It's the trailer's out. It's not the movie's not even out yet.
Oh, okay.
It's a scary one though.
It's not Jungle Cruise.
No, it's scary.
Okay.
And it's a part 2.
Oh, The Quiet Place?
Yes.
That's out already.
Oh, is it?
Oh, it's been out. Yeah. I don't want to see
Why are they
it.
still showing the freaking trailers then?
I think it just came out on DVD or something.
Oh, all right.
Like,
why don't you want to see it? Because it looks dumb.
No, it just looks so intense, like very stressful.
I thought you liked scary movies.
I do, but those are suspenseful. I like slasher films. Like I like Jason and Freddy and you know vampires
You want
and
to see
stuff.
someone like get a fork in their chest or something.
You know what's funny?
Pitchfork.
Daryl does not comment on this, but I'll watch movies like that. I'll watch something where somebody gets stabbed
pitchfork
with
to
a
the
thing
throat,
or
yeah.
whatever, and I start laughing.
The old ones now. Jerry and I made him watch. What's the Jason ones?
Oh, Friday the 13th.
Yeah, like we were watching. They were showing. They had a marathon, and so it was in like the 1s, 2, and 3s, the early ones.
Yeah.
And we were watching. And I'm like, God, these used to absolutely terrify me when I was younger.
Well, it's just the unknown that's
yeah.
scary.
Well,
Yes.
I mean, and I think back then, you know, when you saw someone get, you know, a knife in the eyeball, it was like shocking.
I can't remember what it was. We were watching something. It was a newer show, and somebody got railroaded with a spear, and I go, oh, and I start laughing, and Daryl's like, I just don't want to address the fact that this is really inappropriate. Like, you're supposed to be afraid. You're not supposed to laugh.
And it's not real, so that's why I think
that's
I
why.
Too.
And because I've watched so many special effects shows, and I follow so many makeup people that do that.
Yeah.
To me, I'm like, oh, that looks so real. You know, maybe that's why. Or I'm just a fucking crazy person.
Back then, the old movies were all like actual makeup.
Yes.
And like nowadays, there's so much animation and like
it's hard to tell what's CGI.
They can make it look,
that is true. That is true.
But I think the old school stuff is better. I mean, I like the news. I like the fact that they can do that shit now, but I also like to see the blood jutting out of their throat.
There's some director who wanted no CGI, and I cannot remember who it is.
Quentin Tarantino?
No. It was a horror film, and it was legit good. And I cannot remember who it was. And they're like, no, we're not doing CGI.
Yesterday I started watching Did Django Unchained.
Django Unchained? No.
Is it because of what it's about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't.
Well, and then I watched it. I didn't watch the whole thing. And then I had to Google it because I was curious. I'm like, because Leo, who I adore, is the bad guy. And I was like, you know, he has done some really raunchy, racy stuff.
Yeah.
And he loves Quentin Tarantino.
Yes.
And so I Googled it, and he said that he almost couldn't do that movie.
Yeah. He said it was too hard.
He even
to
told
be a racist.
I think this is too much.
He's like, I can't say the N-word this many times. And,
but he did it.
And he did do it.
And that's what was so amazing
He
to
actually
me.
went to the... who was the main actor with Leo?
Jamie Foxx.
Yeah, he went to Jamie Foxx and said, I need to know that it's okay. Because he, like, was really concerned.
I mean, it would be hard.
And he's like, no, it's for the movie. I know you're not.
Yeah.
You know, he's like, okay, because he was really struggling with it.
I think for him.
I couldn't do it. I don't know if I could do it.
He's such a good actor that I think he knew, like, look, I can't do this half-assed. Like, I can't.
No, he had to do it all
I have to really make it believable. Yeah. And I don't want people to judge me because it's so believable.
Do you know, I've never said that word even by myself. Like, that is a word that I really struggle with.
I do too.
I know people have said it or whatever. Like, our mom used to say that when she was growing up in Chicago, she lived in the part where everything was separated by culture.
Yep.
And that that's just what they called black people.
Yeah.
And it took her a while to realize, oh, you know, that's kind of that's more than derogatory. It's like really, really bad. And she's like, even to this day, well, most of them are dead now, but old relatives that still live there will use that word. And I'm like, God, really? That's crazy. But that's just how people spoke back then.
I know. It's so crazy.
I can't imagine. I mean, now I just can't imagine it. So anyway.
Well, there's no place in it for these days, thank goodness for that. But
it's nice that we're weeding that
shit
out.
But I did struggle with that movie.
Yeah. I don't know.
It was difficult.
Yeah, there are some movies where I'm like, you know what? Life is just bad enough. I don't really want to watch stuff that's just as bad.
It was bad.
Like, there's a lot of great movies that I actually just will not watch because I'm like, it's just going to stress me out. I just really don't
Or you're just going to struggle through it. And what's the point if you're not going
to be entertained by what? There's a million other options.
Yeah.
Okay, so speaking of celebs, there's a couple of things, and then we'll do our ugly and awkward moments. I don't know if you have one. I have one.
Okay.
So Britney Spears.
I know.
The update.
It's never ending.
It's going well.
No, it is going well.
So essentially her amazing attorney has filed a bunch of shit, finally. One is to expand her legal team, which I believe has been approved.
It has.
2, the request to have the dad officially removed as conservator and make
Why is he not stepping down?
Because he's an asshole.
I mean, at this point, I'd be like,
he is clinging it to life. He's not letting it go. He's going to make a judge do it.
That's the part that I hate.
I'm such
like,
a
dude,
fucking asshole.
It's inevitable. You know it's inevitable. I'm like, just resign.
No way. He's not going to do it.
Save yourself the last little iota of dignity that you might have.
No, let him suffer.
I mean, it's just disgusting. I'm like, resign. You know. Now
that she's gained some legal power.
Yeah.
It's over. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah.
So the second thing that I saw that was filed was the request to have him removed and have a CPA take over her financial conservatorship. Because
of her choosing, by the way.
Apparently, and I was listening to I listened to Bloomberg, and I just love it. It's so fucking dry and boring, but it's all legal stuff.
Yeah.
They're like, you have to prove that you can handle your finances to get out of a conservatorship. There's no way that someone like Britney Spears can handle her finances. It's like, it's not balancing a checkbook.
No. Yeah.
She's an empire. And so a CPA has to take over and say,
firm. Yeah, it's not just a person. Yeah.
Not only will the CPA, quote unquote, assume the conservatorship, but once the conservatorship is dissolved, they're like, but we are assuming the financial role for her on behalf of her.
Yeah.
She will pay us to take care of this part of it.
Right.
But she will have complete access to everything, like a normal person.
Yeah.
And then the third thing I read today or yesterday is that her medical team has now officially said it is unhealthy for our client to have Jamie Spears as the conservator. So it's like things are turning. Thank God she finally got a good attorney. I mean, my God.
I mean, and he's the best, too.
And this guy that was her attorney before, if that fool doesn't get, I don't know, punished, how do you do that?
Well, I mean, I don't know.
Misrepresentation of a client, I don't know.
There's probably no legal repercussions on his end.
Other than he looks like a badass.
But, yeah, who's going to want to hire him?
His reputation is.
Yeah, I mean.
And I'm sure all the clients are like,
he probably didn't care about having other clients too much because he had her and she was making so much money. Well, now the gravy train's gone.
That's right.
He is going to want other clients in business, and who's going to want to fucking do business with him? I wouldn't.
And then Brittany's mother has officially filed to indicate...
Dissolve the...
that, but also to... I don't know how to word it, but basically she has officially filed that nobody should be paying for their attorney's fees other than themselves. Like, she does not want Brittany to pay for her dad's attorney's fees or this other lady, Jody. Like, because I'm sure the attorney goes, hey, Mom, you have some legal rights here. Nobody told you, but you do. So she got an attorney, and now she's filing stuff too on behalf. And I'm like, this is what happens when you just sit back and just think that, you can't sit idly by like this. And so I'm so pleased, and I cannot wait.
I love the picture of her driving her Rolls Royce.
Oh my God. I'm so happy. She's driving again. Yes. I'm so happy.
I guess I didn't realize the depth of her restrictions.
And they would punish her if she didn't adhere to them. That's why she did. And that's why she looks so nuts.
It's true.
And so now...
she's like a caged animal.
It is clear that she has been given free control of her Instagram again. And so everything is...
God, that picture she posted the other day was so gorgeous.
The way I was like,
God, look at her. She looks amazing.
She looks happier, for sure.
I mean, her body is just... I mean, she's always had an incredible body.
But she's now being
But I've never seen her... Yeah, I've never seen her post topless before. Not that she shouldn't. God, she's so beautiful.
She's gorgeous.
But I mean...
I think it was just a symbolism of freedom.
Yes.
And I was looking at going, you know what? They were saying, oh, well, they're letting her do this so that she looks crazy. And I'm like, no, this is a woman who has been caged. She is free, and she's going to vomit all the thoughts that she's had for 13 years.
Oh my God.
All over her Instagram, and good. Because at some point, she'll get her shit together and go, okay, I don't need to do this anymore. Now
she just has to get it out right now.
Down to business. Time to be, an artist again.
We're all here for it.
Oh my God.
Girl.
And I told the girls, and I've said this on the show, like, when that Free Britney concert comes, girl, I will be there.
Can't wait. I know.
I will buy the merch. I will be there. Too. I will be crying when she comes out. I don't care how many times she's done the tour. If I'm the last stop on her tour, I will come out like it was day one. Free Britney, free Britney. It's going to be amazing. I cannot wait.
How she's going to feel doing her first tour free, I mean.
Stephanie, I will be. And can I tell you how glad I am we did not go to Vegas and see her?
Now that I know, yes.
Oh my God.
It was something I wanted to do, but every time I looked at it, she was sold out. I'm like, God, you could just never get tickets to her show.
No. Oh my God. Anyway, so that's the Britney thing, and I'm just... again, very, very pleased.
Me too.
Here's something I wanted to know if you knew this. First of all, I think Dean and Tori are headed for a divorce.
Oh, absolutely. They've had a rough marriage for a long time.
It was never good.
No.
And you know what? That can happen sometimes when you marry your mistress. I'm just saying. It can happen.
Oh, is that what he did?
Yeah,
There's nothing special about Dean McDermott. I just don't,
He's cute.
He's cute. I mean,
and that's it.
He had a short span of time where he was making movies and doing stuff on TV.
That's how they met.
Yeah, but I mean, he was never an A-lister, and why they had to have so many fucking children?
That's Tori.
It's disgusting.
When
you're that broke and you can't...
6 kids?
Something unreal. It's like...
I know she gets some kind of allowance from her mom, but it's very little.
No, I think she got... What she has said in the press in the past was she got $750,000 when her father died.
From the estate, and that's it.
And that was it.
Yeah. Now, from what...
her mom was like, fuck you.
I did read this. I did read that should she divorce Dean, she's back in the fold.
So they hate Dean?
I don't know, but I read that.
God, I would have divorced him years ago.
100%. So apparently...
I'd like to know what Candy Spelling intends to do with that money when she dies.
Well, they have other children, but I don't know if any of them have it.
I mean, she's worth billions.
All I know is that I have admired Tori trying to make it happen for herself.
Yeah.
The 90210 reboot, the reality
she takes
show.
Advantage of anything she can possibly get her hands on.
And I think she's done okay, but nothing's stable,
Well, I think her problem is that because she was born so rich and wealthy, she doesn't know how to live like a normal person.
Why would she?
Well, I just can't understand Candy Spelling. I really
don't get it either. But so I did read this. I'm like, wait a minute. You mean to tell me that if Tori and Dean divorce, that Tori is back in the fold and she'll once again be a multimillionaire?
She should be.
I'm like,
her father would turn in his grave if he saw the way that her mother has treated her.
I mean, because we don't know why there's a rift. We don't understand it.
Candy just says, in public at least, that, look, just because you're born into money doesn't mean you're entitled to it. And I'm like, okay. It kind of does, actually.
Especially if you raise them in that manner.
And if your father dies, I mean, he loved Tori.
He loved her.
And maybe there was some jealousy. I don't get it.
Oh, maybe.
I don't understand parents who are jealous of their own children. But I've seen it happen before.
Oh, sure.
And maybe that was just her way of like, now I'm in control. Daddy's not going to give you anything anymore.
I hate that.
But I don't know.
I hate that.
But it would be so difficult for me to watch my daughter struggle.
I couldn't do it.
Personally knowing what's going on and then seeing what's happened to her in the press. She's irresponsible. She can't live, she's a spoiled, rotten bitch. She can't handle her own money. She just spends what she doesn't have. And I'm like,
I just don't think
if
that's
I'm
true.
the mom, and I don't think it's true either.
If
I'm the mom and I'm watching my daughter get crucified in the media, I'd be like,
and she has
$1 million, honey.
She has so much power in LA and uses none of it to help her daughter. It's crazy to me.
She doesn't do anything, but she's like, you need to make it on your own. I'm like, why does she need to make it on her own? You have more money than God. Give her some.
I don't get it either. I mean, at least
look at the Hiltons. They give all their kids all the money. None of them have to do anything.
Well, I mean, and honestly, if she had done what the Hiltons have done, I mean, Paris Hilton is an icon and a multimillionaire on her own because
she was supported.
She had the ability to do so.
Absolutely.
I read something the other day, and they said, all these people who think these up-and-coming, quote-unquote, these amazing, edgy designers, they're like, oh, I made it on my own, and right. Like, no, they have rich fucking parents who paid for everything to allow them to do this.
What they wanted to do.
Yes.
They didn't have to worry about paying rent, or how am I going to pay for school, or all of that was taken care of, so they had as much support as they needed,
right.
And then they made it on their own. I was actually reading an article that's funny about people that most people don't know came from really rich families.
Oh, yeah.
I was surprised at some of them.
There are some that I have read before, and I had no idea that Julia Louis-Dreyfus was a billionaire.
I didn't either.
I had no idea.
I had no clue.
You would never know it because she doesn't act like it. She works really, really hard.
Right.
And she has her own life living.
Yes, she does. She does. And many of them do.
Yeah. It's crazy. Yeah. So anyway,
but I feel like that their family money was the stepping stone to get them where they wanted to be.
I give it to them that they survived the majority of the pandemic, but I do understand that they've always struggled. I mean, I know he's cheated, and so it's not like they've been seamlessly walking hand in hand together. So yeah, we'll see what happens. And I don't know. They
say that they're too broke to even file for divorce.
That's what. And now, if I was Kenny, I'd be like, babe, here, let's just
do it.
Let's just do it.
Jesus Christ, you can get a divorce for like 3 G's, and they don't really have a whole crap load of assets.
They don't. They have that house, and I think that's it. Okay, and then finally, Harvey Weinstein's ex, Georgina Chapman, I think. She's dating Adrian Brody.
Isn't that strange?
It's the oddest coupling I've ever heard.
I thought so too.
How?
I don't know, but
I've
been very curious to know. I'm like, God, do I like Harvey Weinstein movies? I'm like, have I seen any of that? And then I started, I'm like, I do. I'm like, no, I hate it.
Him and his brother were geniuses.
Yes.
But they're disgusting.
They are disgusting. And then I'm like, God, I'm like, you know what? It's probably best that I don't look anymore.
Well, I mean,
because it was really disturbing. Some of the movies I really loved.
Well, the thing is that it's not even the products. It's the behind the scenes shit. It doesn't discount the art. And he didn't make it. He's not the director.
No, he's the producer.
He just funded shit. He just gave him money to make it. But I do understand the dilemma. I mean, like a lot of people will go, it's hard to say this, but Bill Cosby is a genius comedically. Yeah. He's a legend in his own right in that aspect. The Cosby Show is nothing to ignore.
True. It was funny. I love that show.
Do you separate the two? Yes.
Well, I mean, I kind of do. I liken it to like sports. Like a lot of people get all their panties all in a twist over certain athletes who do dumb things. I'm like, they're just people.
Yeah.
And when I watch some like football, for instance, I don't think about I might if you beat your wife, okay?
Yeah, I struggle with that.
That one I do struggle with.
That, yeah.
Because I do feel like, yes, they're famous and they do represent a certain, what's the word I'm thinking of? Moral ethics for younger people, for kids
role models.
That aspire to be, right? But other than that, if they've gotten DUIs or they're druggies or whatever the case may be, I just don't give a fucking shit. I am watching you because you're entertaining me
and you're doing
during
great.
the sport. And that's great. And what you do after that, I don't care.
Yeah, and I remember...
I guess sexual assault's a little different.
It is. I was talking to somebody, this was a long time ago, and I said, if we really knew, even the quote-unquote clean people, and this is a perfect thing, it's like, if we really knew how all of these people live their lives outside of the screen or the radio or whatever... There would be a lot of unpopular people that you think are so great. Everyone thought, oh, Dean Martin, Frank Sinatra, they're clean. I'm like, are they? No.
Well, I mean, look how bad we're judging Mila Kunis and Ashton Kutcher because they don't bathe their children regularly. We're like, oh my God, you filthy swines.
Smelly kids! What's wrong with
many other smelly celebs are probably out there?
Oh, when you hear those rumors, you're like, oh, she stinks. She never bathes.
I have read stories about actresses who were like, I had to do these sex scenes and these kissing scenes with some actor that we all love, and they were disgusting. I
don't want to hear that.
Their pits smelled, and they were gross, and their breath smelled, and I could barely get through that scene, and you're like, ugh. But then everyone's like, oh my God, he's so gorgeous.
I'm like, no, he's not.
She's like, you have no idea.
You're like, yeah, he's great.
It reminds me of your story with Don Henley. Every time I think about that, because if you didn't know something like that, I thought Don Henley was adorable.
I did too.
I mean, I'm just like, God.
Now I can't look at him. Now I go, why do I have the CD?
You're gross.
I don't have CDs anymore.
I know, but I love I can't help it.
He was in my wedding. I had danced to his song.
I know.
Anyway.
But he's just a man.
Just like they're all just men. All right. Let's do some ugly and awkward moments of the week.
I really don't.
Okay, I'll tell you mine because it's really quick, and then we'll close the show. Okay, so a few weeks ago, now producer Deb adopted my daughter. It's been 9 years now, and it's something that we choose to celebrate every year because it's a big deal.
It's a huge deal.
The reason it's only 9 years, because Daryl and I have been together for 24 years this week, is because I refused to let him do it. I wouldn't let him do it. I was so sure it wasn't going to work out. I was so sure we'd get divorced or whatever. And I just did not want to risk it.
A long time ago, yeah.
I just thought it would break her, my daughter. I'm like, I can't do this and then divorce her dad. It would just be
horrible.
It would be a double. It would be a double whammy. I couldn't do it. So ultimately, when I realized, I'm like, okay, I think we're probably going to stick it out.
Yeah.
Especially after our rough patch, I went, okay. So I asked him, I said, do you still want to adopt Mackenzie? And he's like, fucking A, I do. And I'm like, okay. And he goes, I've known her since she was like 7 months old. I'm like, I know. And then I asked Mackenzie, and she's like, yesterday. Yes.
Yeah. Aww.
So we did it. It was, the whole family went. The judge was, it was a really amazing event. So every year we celebrate it. And we went to St. Helena this year and had a wine tasting. And the reason we did it is because Mackenzie was accepted to the CIA, which is the Culinary Institute in St. Helena, and she starts in January. We're super excited. So we were celebrating that. And so we joined this little wine club. It's 2 blocks away from her school so that she can go and have tastings whenever she wants when she's living there. So it was a big celebrating day. It was hot as fuck.
Yeah.
And everybody's tasting outside because of the pandemic. So we're sitting in this corner. And we had a really great host, and he's talking to us about all the wines and stuff. And so it's really hot, so I'm drinking water a lot. Yeah. So he comes up, he's like, how's everything? And I'm trying to talk and drink at the same time.
Why?
Because I'm an idiot. So I take a drink, and he comes like, oh, and I was like trying to go, oh yeah, hold on, let me drink, and then I'll say something. And instead, I dribbled down my chin.
Oh God.
All the way down my shirt, my dress,
cleavage,
into my dress, down in between my boobs. And then, of course, because I'm awkward, I can't just ignore it.
You're like,
and I have no napkin because we're drinking wine.
Oh, God.
So I take my hand and I'm like massaging my breast.
Oh, nice.
And I'm looking at the guy in the eye, and I'm doing this. I'm like, and I make some stupid face while he's trying to talk, and then eventually he just has, because I'm making it such an ordeal, he finally starts to look at my chest, because what choice does he have at this
he's
point?
Okay, so this is gonna happen.
This is clearly an extended event that we're going to have to deal with. I'm like, sorry, and I'm like, and I'm like, it's so awkward.
I hate myself.
It's so dumb.
I mean, Paula said that the other day. We were all messaging, and she's like, why do I have to be so awkward? Why can't I just be like everything else? I'm like, Paula. Really?
It's who we are.
It's just, I'm like, believe me, you are not alone in this issue. Jamie and I are the most awkward people ever. I'm
so
like,
awkward.
I have a job and I am full-blown awkward at it almost every day.
Paula did some research once because she was so convinced it was an issue. She's just like, Jamie, do you realize that trauma causes awkward and clumsiness? That is why we're this way, because we were so traumatized. I'm like, Paula. She goes, it's a serious thing. And I'm like, it's not.
So she wants to get cured.
She wants some kind of reason why. And I'm like, we were just born like
You know what sucks for us is like we happen to come from a relatively attractive family.
Yeah.
And I think people assume that if you're attractive, you're confident and graceful.
No.
And we are not.
No.
We
Not
are
at all.
the opposite. So they look at you like, wow, she's really pretty. And then all of a sudden you're like, you dribble water all down the front of yourself.
It's true.
They're like, oh, you just burst my bubble.
And boy, will it keep you humble.
Welcome to my world.
Will it keep you humble? Like in a million ways.
I'm the one that will always like wait when you're in a room, everybody's talking really loud, and you try to say something, and you like raise your voice so you can be heard, and then suddenly it's dead silent.
That's
You're
you.
like, yeah, I was just saying. Then you look around, everyone's looking at you.
Or it's like
why
something
are you
like
shouting?
It's like that. And then I told him, well, fuck you. And it's like, oops. Oh, Stephanie, I had the weirdest dream. And then we have to say goodbye. Okay,
sorry.
He
has a lot to edit anyway.
I dreamt I was in some kind of store. And I left my phone in another toy aisle, and I was somewhere else, and I had left the Joe Rogan podcast playing.
God.
And he's like, I don't know why we can't use the word fag anymore. And it was like bellowing loud. And he said it like 10 times in a row. I was like, I'm like running.
Find it.
And I couldn't find my phone, and everybody's around going, what is that? And I'm like, oh my God, I've got to go find my phone.
Did he really say something like that?
No.
I'm like, was that real?
No, in my brain it was, but I was like, oh my God, and I was panicking and everybody was judging me, and I was like, it's Joe Rogan, you guys, I promise, it's not me.
Oh my God.
I don't think this.
I'm telling you, our dreams are terrible.
They're insane. They're insane.
So real, yeah. I'm always, when I wake up,
real.
I'm always like, oh, thank God. Or the next day I'll remember something and be like, did that really happen? Oh no, it was a dream. Okay, thank God.
Stephanie, I had a dream the other day that Daryl had a stroke.
And
his face was all like weird, strokey, and I was just like, oh my God, I go, someone call 911 in the dream. And what was funny is I was mad at him when I had the dream, and he's like, why were you mad at me? I was having a medical event. I'm like, you were being an asshole earlier in the day. And I'm just like, well, this is what you get. I go, it was really weird. He goes, well, gee, so glad to know you'll be helpful. I'm like,
I know the other day Jerry said something, you're going to regret saying stuff like this to me when I'm dead and everything. I was like, yeah, I'm going to regret it. I'm going to regret that I was with you for so long. I'm not going to regret that you're dead. I'm going to be like, thank God. I know, I am evil.
That's funny.
When I'm angry. And then I would have felt bad later because then I'm like you. I don't have as vivid of an imagination, but it's pretty vivid.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, you do.
So I can literally like look at a person and like imagine them dead, not in a gruesome, violent way, but like what that would look like as a dead person, you know. And it's really real.
That is weird. I've never done that.
I know. Well,
I can't imagine Daryl dead. I'll have to think about it. No, I can't.
Yeah, I think for me it's because it's always kind of in the back of my mind because we're so far apart in age.
You know what's weird is when I think about Daryl dead, he has a mustache. Isn't that strange? Why?
I don't know.
That's so weird.
Because maybe you think when he gets older he'll want one.
He better not.
No.
Oh, it's old.
Anyway, all right.
All right. So dead. Anyway.
Right. Sorry.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us, and thank you for supporting us, and we'll see you next time. Bye.